roping you guys into helping me with the Negro League tribute between St. Louis and San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. So basically, we'll make you all baseball. You decide what baseball games and things you want to call, Mets, and you let us know. And when you set up the stream, we'll see it, and when you get on there and call it with you, you know we'll have your back. Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate you, bro.
I can get back to reading my book for a little bit.
Right.
I mean, of all things I'm reading, it's a cookbook I got recently.
You can't cook, Mets. The hell?
I did a few weeks. I did recently from out of this book.
What you cook out of that book, Mets?
You ever heard of something called a ham curl up?
Ham curl up.
It's an hors d'oeuvre. Basically, you take some buttered toast, put Philly cheese on it, a couple of asparagus stalk and tips, and roll the tips up in ham, and then stick it on top of the bread.
That sounds pretty damn good, man.
Right.
Shoot, you have to bring that to the tailgate. That sounds actually kind of good. But can you do it with turkey instead of ham?
It can, but it's got to be delicatessen sliced turkey, and the cheese, it's specifically Philly, though you can use sharp cheddar as a substitute.
Okay. Well, Mets, we're going to allow you to finish reading your book. Hopefully you stay in the chat. And I'm going to I contacted you on Twitter already, but I'm going to contact you and let you know the semantics of everything so we can go ahead and get you set up, okay?
Got it.
All right. Appreciate you, Mets. Thank you, man.
Late, Lou.
All right.
Later.
All right, that was Mets, man. So we're gonna get you some baseball content here on the Big Blue Crew Sports Network as well. Hey, D'Ella, let us know. I think you follow me on Twitter, D'Ella. Just let us know if you're comfortable putting that content on the channel when you're able to do it. Just let us know, and we'll get you set up as well, D'Ella. So definitely be appreciated if you're on the Big Blue Crew Sports Network, brother. You always support and you're always here and you never flaked on us. So we would be honored if you come and do some content on the channel for us. Javi, he says, I got my grandson tonight, but if it's cool, I would love to come on another night. Yeah, just let us know. You're always in the chat. If you're ready to come up and talk some Giants talk or whatever talk, let us know and we'll get you the link in the chat so you can come on and talk your talk. Man Cave, what do you think about this man here on the screen? What do you think this man will bring to this team that will allow this offense to be a better offense that we've seen in the past, man, what, 8 years, 10 years? Right. What do you think he'll bring?
He's going to bring some juice and excitement to this offense and, lighten this offense up and allow us to do even more stuff on the offensive end. Now we finally got a number one wide receiver that could take the top off as well as play in the slot. So he's going to face like I said, the double teams and stuff like that. That should open it up for other receivers to eat, you know what I'm saying? Like Wan'Dale Robinson, Slayton, Hyatt, and things like that. So just because, Neighbors is out there, people think like, he's going to do his thing, but of course he's going to get the bulk of the defensive assignments. They're going to game plan for him, take him away, try to take him away. So we got to get these other guys got to do their work. If they do their work, that's going to open him up even more too, So, but he's the first receiver that we have since Odell Beckham that bringing some excitement to the Giants offense and stuff like that. In the past, when Odell Beckham was there, even though he was the only option that we had, teams still couldn't stop him, Yeah,
that's a fact. That's a fact, man. But it's a lot of these guys on here. We can speak about this too. Yeah, Don, he always comes with it. He says, I hear Giants fans slurping the Eagles, even Washington, but then talk down about the Giants. My question to you, Man Cave, is what is bringing on this mindset? What's bringing on this mindset about always talking down about the New York Giants, but you'll talk great about their division opponents. You're not even just talking about opponents. You just talk great about the division opponents, and you want the team to lose. Like, where's this mindset coming from, man?
Well, it's coming from, like I said, like some of these guys, like I said, they used to seeing the Giants in the past, win Super Bowls, and we haven't won since 2011. So, it's been bad for the last 10 years, what I'm saying? But that's been because of dysfunctional organization, bad coaching, things like that. So, and then also the drafting of Daniel Jones has brought down a lot of what you call it, negative stuff like that. So that's where it basically comes from.
Okay. NYG, are you there? What's going on?
Man, I'm on the headset now.
What's good, bro?
Fucked up, man. I'm so mad, bro. You don't
I know.
understand. I can't show my frustration so much, man. This internet shit, man, giving me a hook, man, for a minute, bro. But I'm gonna get it straight, I promise. Hell of hot water. I gotta switch companies, pay some extra bread. We're gonna get this shit straight for the season.
All right. Well, I've been recruiting since you've been gone, so
Yeah, he been recruiting, man.
I've been listening, yeah.
so we might have Diello on board. We got Mets and El Capitan on board. I hit up Empire Jeff. Hopefully he can come on. He can do Lakers and Dodgers. So we're trying to just get you a whole. Oh, here's another guy that's been on the network. What's going on, Miss?
It's been steaming on the network.
Mizzaroni and cheese. What's going on, man? Hey, look. Hey, Lou just gained a whole nother year on you in age, brother.
Happy birthday, Lou.
Mitch,
Happy birthday, my brother.
you've been doing a lot of things as far as on the Big Blue Crew Network. I'm super proud of you.
Trying.
Let's talk about it.
Just look, what in the world? I got 2 NYGs.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about how you feel about this Giants offense going into the season. Talk about Daniel Jones, Malik Neighbors, whoever you want to talk about on this Giants offense going into the season. And how do you feel we will go into the season as far as the offense?
Well, the biggest thing to me is I want to really see this offensive line come out the gate Sunday and impose its will on the Vikings front. And I'd like to see us be able to run the ball. I know the throws will come. I know it's a passing league, but I like to see us start the season controlling the clock and running the ball Sunday. At least a little bit of that. And I know a lot of guys everybody talks about, but my one guy, I was talking to someone earlier tonight that I would like to see have a Pro Bowlish season, and I think that would make the big difference in our season is our center. I like to see him step up, have a big year, because if the center has a big year, you know the Giants had a good season.
That's a fact.
As far as Daniel Jones, I want Daniel Jones to play his type of football, play within his game, not have to show people or care about the media or the negative fans that I got to prove something. You don't have to prove anything. You just got to play football, and 1 week at a time. I'm not worried about stats. I'm not a fantasy guy. Just manage the offense, be a leader, and win the game. And honestly, I really don't care if we win the game 13-10. That's good enough for me.
That's a fact. As long as it's a W in that win column, I'm good, man. But it's a lot of people that doubt that Daniel Jones can throw 30 touchdowns, and there's some people that even doubt that he can throw 20 touchdowns. What do you think? I know you're not a stats guy, but do you believe that Daniel Jones can throw more than the 15 touchdowns he did in 2022?
Oh, yeah, easily. But it really comes down to if he's going to be able to be healthy and play the whole season. If he does, I can't see him. I really do see him around the 25 touchdown mark.
I do too.
That was the number I had in my head, 25. So if he plays a full season, and with Jones, we know that's a big thing. Like, can they get him through the season? This is supposed to be a much better O-line. We have a running back committee. So I'm right now in the mind frame that Jones is going to play a full season. And the number of touchdowns in my mind, to be fair, is around 25.
Okay, okay. So
Am I off?
NYG, nah, you're not off at all. That's why I think he'll be around two between 25 and 30. Um, NYG, since you've been
Yo,
gone for a little while, let's
yeah.
just say Daniel Jones does throw the 20 between the 25 and 30 touchdowns.
hmm
How does that affect the season? How good of a season will we have if he throws that many touchdowns?
I think we're in the playoffs. I think we're in the playoffs because one thing about Daniel Jones is I don't anticipate him having a lot of turnovers. So I'm looking at 25 touchdowns efficiently. Maybe 25, 8 interceptions. Maybe he has a couple fumbles here and there, but I don't expect a bunch of turnovers with those 25 touchdowns. So if that is the case, the Giants will be in the playoffs and they will be a dangerous team because Miz is right. The Giants have to have some commitment to the running game. And if they are committed to the running game and they're able to let Daniel Jones work off play action, which is where I think his best strength is. I mean, that dude has a ball fake pulse that, what I'm saying, can fake your mama out. So he does. He's really good at that fake, that play action fake. But you got to have a running game to be able to execute that efficiently. That's what the Giants had in 2022. So I do think that a 25 touchdown season for Daniel Jones gets the Giants into the playoffs, man. Just based off what I said, just based off how this team is built right now. But Brian Dable has to understand that he has to commit to running the football with this particular team. This is not an air it out, I know Lou, shout out to the birthday boy, greatest show on turf, Big Blue edition, but I just don't see I I I don't know if that's gonna. I hope it does. For real, I'm not gonna put bad energy out there, but I think a more realistic expectation is just for Daniel Jones to have a solid season and for the Giants to be able to be a balanced team running the football. But y'all
So
got it.
you
Okay.
mentioned no, I'm keeping on your pause.
Okay.
You mentioned, you mentioned that Brian Dable has to get the run game going. Explain to me why you believe that's such an important part to this team, the run game. Explain the run game and why you believe that this team has no choice. And I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I don't know you
Yeah.
say you don't have no choice, but they have to get the run game going this year. They can't just be a pass happy team because you said we don't have, the manpower to do so. Explain your the reasoning behind those statements.
Well, for one thing is, as I mentioned before, the running game helps out your quarterback. It plays to your quarterback's strength. Daniel Jones is a quarterback that can run. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but if you use Daniel Jones properly and you use his rushing ability, that helps him, become a better quarterback. Also, you have to take into effect that you have a young receiver core. You know, do you want to force feed this young group, or do you want to let them develop as they supposed to? You know, running game helps that. Takes pressure off your young wide receivers. Takes pressure off your quarterback. Takes pressure off your offensive line. This offensive line is new. I do think it will be much improved, but you know, people looking at the offensive line like, oh, they can't run block. Bullshit. Jermaine Illuminor can run block. Van Roten can run block. I've seen Smiths run block. I've seen Andrew Thomas run block very well. Only one you might have question with is John Runyon, but I'm pretty sure Aaron Jones over there in Green Bay was running the football effectively. So he can run block if necessary. You got to get Y'all take pressure off your offensive line. It just takes pressure off everybody. It makes your team more balanced, and it allows you to open up your play calling and not be one dimensional. Because if they think the Giants are just gonna drop back and pass, we're gonna be in for a long season, y'all. Because guess what? They're gonna quarterback hunt, and now you're gonna be asking Andrew Thomas and Illuminor and all these guys to block for 50 dropbacks. Like, not trying to do that, man. You gotta run the football. Especially in this division. In this division is very important. The NFC East. This why me and Miz align that. When you're talking about the weather and the area and the Northeast and the wind and the cold in December. Now you got to think about how you're going to operate in those conditions. You're going to drop back and pass 50 times in the snow, Brian Dable? I'd like to see you do it. You got to run the football. You have a running back by committee. You're not going to be force feeding a Saquon Barkley or Josh Jacobs or whoever it is. You have the horses to have an effective running game in order to help out Daniel Jones in his offense.
Okay. So it's about balance with you, which I'm totally agreeing with. And Man Cave, I heard you agreeing with it. What do you think about that whole running the ball scenario? Give me a scenario where you think it's acceptable. Let's just say out of 20 plays, how many run and how many pass plays will be acceptable for you as far as a balanced offense?
And that's all I was about to say. A balanced offense would be half and half, but what would be acceptable is 12 pass, 8 run, something like that. Depend on what it depends on what team you're playing, the type of pressure, and what I'm saying. And also, if our offensive line is dominating, then you can run a little bit more. We having a good run game. So, like I said, it depends on that and stuff like that. And then to get back on the Daniel Jones with the passing touchdowns, really, if you look at it, it could be like I know playing basketball. I played basketball before, but it's like, it's something like Jordan said, like to players and stuff like that. If you want to average 24 points, you probably just gotta get like 6 points a quarter. If you focus on things like that, like for the touchdown, if the Giants with Daniel Jones, if he get 2 touchdowns a game, he's going to get to that margin. He just have to get 2 touchdowns, throwing touchdowns a game. You know what I'm saying? If they really force that, on him and stuff like that.
Yeah. So basically, if he averages a touchdown per half, he will get 34 touchdowns on the year.
In a full season, if he plays a full season, that's what.
If he plays a full season, yes. That's very true, Man Cave, and I'm glad you brought that up as well. I do believe we can average a passing touchdown a half this year. That's a fact. I do believe we can average that a year, and that will get DJ around that 30 touchdown mark. Whether you want to believe it or not. Diella, can't wait for him to be on the network. He says if Dabo didn't learn from the mistakes that were made in Buffalo by abandoning the run, shaking my head. You have to run the ball, and you can't expect the QB to carry both parts of the offense. Now, this is a very, very, very true statement. Me and NYG, we have called a lot of Buffalo games, and we sat there and looked at each other, paused, and like, what the hell is their scheme? It's Josh Allen or die. And do you think, let me ask you this, NYG, because you studied the Giants pretty well last year, and you were called out a lot of times because you say, what's the game plan? I couldn't even tell you. I studied the game right. So do you think that he tried to do the hero system with DJ last year, and that's what caused us to get the business besides the offensive line not blocked?
I absolutely think so. I absolutely do. I think when they paid Daniel Jones, they said, okay, you got your money, homeboy. Let's get it. You're going to throw the ball. You got paid. You're going to throw the ball. Not thinking that, like, look, is that the best thing for your team? Is that the best thing for your offense? I get it. You paid Daniel Jones. Cool. He should shoulder some of the responsibility, for this offense, but you can't force it. You got to play to your quarterback's strength. Again,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying, man. Daniel Jones, let me tell y'all something about Daniel Jones. People want to piss on Daniel Jones and his 15 touchdowns and, the tripping in the Eagles game and all the little silly shit they talk about. This dude was one of the top rushing quarterbacks in the NFL in his
Mm-hmm.
first 4 or 5 seasons in the league. One of the best. The best. Now we talking Lamar, we talking Hurts, we talking Murray, we talking Allen, we talking in that company. Daniel Jones was up there. I think one year he finished the 22. I think he finished second or third in 2022 with
I
700
think it was
rushing
second
yards.
behind Lamar Jackson.
Lamar, right? So don't get it twisted because he's a white boy and that he can't be a dynamic quarterback in that sense. Now coming off the ACL, I don't know. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what that's gonna look like, but I don't think Daniel Jones got that much slower. I think he can still move, and you gotta use that ability, And I think Brian Dable got away from that. He just wanted to drop back, try to pass, and try to be Buffalo, like you said, Pat, and it didn't work. So I'm interested. I'm real interested to see what kind of game plan they come out with this year, since he's gonna be the one calling the plays.
Yeah, I know you're gonna be all over that this season, and man, if it don't work out, you ain't gonna be able to keep you quiet. But
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about one thing about Daniel Jones. A lot of us mentioned that he can't be in his own head going into this season. He can't be scared to make a mistake. He can't try to play perfect, and he can't be in his old head listening to the critics and everything. I want to start it off with Miz. I want you to elaborate on what you mean by those type of statements that pretty much everybody in the chat has heard from us. You know what I'm saying? So, Miz, tell them why you think that way.
Basically, what's the question, Pat?
Like, do you believe that he can overcome the overthinking part of his game, the trying to be the perfect part of his game? I can't make a mistake. I can't turn the ball over because if I do, we automatically lose. But I do believe they built the team to where we can overcome mistakes this year. Um, Not saying he can go out there and throw 5 interceptions and think we can win the game, but I just want you to elaborate on, do you think he can overcome some of those deficiencies as far as overthinking and not trying to make a mistake? Because we all see it, like every one of us see it, that he does do that. Do you think he can overcome
Oh,
it?
yeah,
And
I think he's gonna overcome it because I think like he just got to play football, and mistake is gonna happen. And I actually think it's a good thing that mistake happened in the preseason game against the Texans because okay, he got that out the way early, and like if you're a non-hater or just a balanced person, you could see that he had bounced back right after he did bounce back in that game. So, and that's just preseason. But I think like he has an O line this year. I'm really confident in this O line for the first time in a long time. And I think that's gonna come right in the first game. As soon as he sees that he's actually gonna have some time and he sees for the first time that he has weapons that can get him yak. And I don't think he's had that in his career yet. Wide receivers that can catch the ball in stride and turn, a 5 or 10 yard slant into like 30 or 40 yards, or a man who could go down the sideline and make spectacular catches or just break away, in Malik Neighbors. You got Robinson, who's going to be, I think, a slot demon this year. So I think he's going to, for the first time, benefit from an O line and also having receivers that can turn nothing into something pretty big. So once he gets that going and he gets a taste of that, I think his confidence in just letting the ball go and not worried about making the most perfect pass at every single time, I think that's just going to come, especially with neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think he has a lot of confidence in Neighbors, and he has a rapport with Robinson, and he has an extreme amount of confidence in Darius Slayton, and I think that helps him out tremendously with some of those issues.
Yeah.
Man
Let me
cave.
tell you
What you
something.
think? Go ahead, Miz. Go ahead. Go ahead.
As soon as this guy, and I'm hoping it works this way, I feel it will because of this O line. As soon as Jones realizes that he's no longer running for his life, that he's going to be safe in the pocket and he could step up into his throws, I think his confidence is going to grow real fast.
Yeah, it's going to turn into the Arizona game. I promise you that.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to turn into. It's going to turn into the Arizona game. It's going to turn into that Vikings game. It's going to turn into, 2019 where you see him throwing the ball with confidence. The biggest thing I've said this entire time about my gripe with Daniel Jones is his confidence level. It's mental. It's mental. Now I've been watching the media a little bit here and there, and from everything I've gathered, is Daniel Jones is a lot more confident this year. I don't know if it's because it's the big, because he getting some box from K Adams or what it is, but he's well timed. But yeah, I think he's more confident this year, man. I think you got a confident Daniel Jones, man, and a confident quarterback is what the Giants need right now, because trust me, there's a lot of negativity and unsureness seeping through the organization and through the fan base. So Daniel Jones, be confident, Daniel Jones. I promise you this will work out. It's going to work out one way or the other.
Right.
Trust me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a true statement too, Trauma. He says, and I'm looking at stats. Daniel Jones was top 10 in completion completion percentage in 2022 healthy. So I don't want to hear people say he can't play. He can play. He can play. It's just that, like NYG says, he has to get out of his own head. And man cave, I want to hear your perspective on this topic.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this because I don't think it's been said on no other show. Like you hearing stuff like that. Pat, from them clips that you play, look at when Daniel Jones rolls to his right side, all the plays he can make. In the past, he's been unable to make that because Evan Neal's side has always been the side that has all the pressure's been coming. So he always has to run to the other side. So when he runs to the other side, because when he runs towards Andrew Thomas' side, that's his weak. As a right-handed quarterback, you can't throw across your body. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of plays break down. I mean, it's kind of funny to say, like, if he gets pressure this season, I'd rather come from Andrew Thomas' side to make him roll towards the right side, towards the Luminor side, that he could throw across his body. If you saw in that game, the Vikings game, and even on some other plays that you'll see, when he rolls to his right side, he can able to make plays because he could throw across his body. And he's been able to do that in the past because of Evan Neal. So if Illuminor can shore up that right side, which I think he can, you want him rolling to that right side a lot, so that way he could throw on the run across his body over the middle or something like that to make the throws.
And guess what?
He has
received. That's why Man Cave is part of the Big Blue Sports
Facts, bro.
But that's an absolute fact. And he has receivers like Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors that know how to come back to the ball when the play breaks down. So when you got to play a little bit of backyard football, he has some receivers that know how to get it done in that situation. So it's I just think that if this offensive line blocks, I don't see a reason why this guy cannot succeed this year. I don't see why he couldn't. As long as he's not in his own head, as long as he's not overthinking things, as long as he's not thinking that, hey, I have to play perfect in order for us to win. No, you don't have to play perfect. Just go out there and make some plays and let that defense get the ball back for you. Don't force anything and don't hold the trigger. Pull the trigger when you have the chance to pull the trigger, because you got playmakers out there now that want the football. Malik Neighbors, a dog, wants the football. Wan'Dale Robinson, a dog that wants the football. You said what?
I'm at the slide. I gotta lay it down.
All right,
Hey,
Lou.
bro.
I'm sure
Happy
you have
birthday,
to
bro.
lay it down. Happy birthday, bro. He gonna lay it down. All right. Salute to you, bro.
All right, bro.
Have fun,
night,
bro.
All right.
Peace.
Right.
'Cause, but you gotta. 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 You got to think, man, when you got a bunch of dogs out there on the field that want the ball, they're going to find ways to get themselves open in order to get those catches and those stats and those touchdowns that they want. And we got 3 guys out there because Slayton wants the ball as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pause. He has something that he has to prove not only to the Giants but to himself.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So he's going to want a bigger contract after this year, whether he gets it with the Giants or not. Me personally, I hope he does get it with the Giants.
Me too,
because
bro.
that dude has been a Giant through and through.
Mm-hmm.
He's been through the gauntlet with this new regime. Because a lot of people forget this new regime canceled him when they first got here.
They ain't fuck with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't.
You know what I'm saying? They had him behind David Seals. That's how they were wanting to get rid of him. To believe it or not, he had to take a pay cut to save what was it, $1 million or something dollars on only on a $2 million salary. He was playing on freaking rookie salary. Yeah.
Your number one receiver playing for nothing, and the Giants complaining about this guy. That's why I get triggered. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Like, this dude has been the only guy that's been consistent, and they had like 700 yards is just bootleg. Maybe that's bootleg if you're comparing him to somebody like Justin Jefferson or somebody, but he wasn't drafted in that position, and he was never meant to come in and be that.
Is it bootleg compared to the 500-something Kenny Galladay got you when he was the number one receiver in 2020?
Fact. It was a bootleg compared to the -2 yards Kadarius Toney had before he got traded.
Right.
Was it bootleg the Marcus Johnson and David Seals?
Yep. Darren Waller.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is, man. But, that's really the offensive side of the ball. We're going to get into the defensive side of the ball for a little bit before we end it. And who better to start it off than Miz, man? What do you think about the trenches this year as far as the defensive line, man? I know, and shout out to Miz because he had to correct me about Dexter Lawrence, and he let me know for a whole month. I told you about Dexter Lawrence. So talk to us about this defensive line, man.
Yeah, this defensive line, man. This defensive line. If the Giants could get to the fourth quarters, I believe we have the front four to bring it home for the first time in many years. Burns is going to be a beast, like Pat says, an absolute monster. And because of Burns, I think Kayvon is going to have a Pro Bowl year. And we all know what Dexter Lawrence is. And I'm very high on Chapman. I think as the year goes on, Chapman's going to become a big name on this team. But we also got to add in the 7 because Okereke is one of the best linebackers in football, and he doesn't miss a snap. And McFadden, if he's healthy. So what I'm saying is my biggest key to this defensive line is not pass rush because we all know that they can put up big numbers. If this front four can play well and stop the running game, those sacks are going to come automatically. Giants got to be able to stop the run. If they could do that, this defense could be one of the best defenses in football.
Facts.
Yeah. What you think, man, K?
Hey, just what Miz just said, man. That's my biggest that's stopping the run. Huh?
Repeat that. Yeah, it went out.
Oh, okay. No, what I was saying, just like what Miz said, I mean, the pass rush is going to come. I know that, but our whole thing is stopping that run. And who better to, for us to have a defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, who's that's been one of his fortes, stopping the run. Because last year, I think we were 4th worst at stopping the run, like 28th in the league. So we can get up to like 15 and then up to 10 or something like that and stop that run. That's going to go a long way to having a successful season on the defensive side, man. Because then you could make them a one-dimensional team and pin your ears back.
Right. That's a fact. What you thinking, YG?
Man, I've been saying stopping the run, man. You already know stopping the run is going to allow you to rush the passer. This is how we've been getting beat by the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles for the past however many years, is because They can stop the run, make us one-dimensional, and they feast with their edge rushers. That's what the Giants got to do. Giants got to get back to Giants football. Think about 2007. Think about 2011, where we was dominating with the pass rush. 2011 in the postseason, 2007 all season. So again, remember the Giants had 50 sacks plus sacks that season. Mm-hmm. Now, when you thinking about your division, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, what do they struggle with? Pressure, burst pipes. You got to be consistent with this pass rush. Wink Martindale, as good as a defensive coordinator he is, he never really developed any type of pass rushers outside of that one dude in Baltimore, and I think he was just like an anomaly. I can't think of his name, but that's it, man. I think it was one guy in Baltimore that had double-digit sacks with Wink.
Oh, you talking about Suggs?
Yeah. That was it though, bro. It's like that's not his thing. And when you draft Kayvon Thibodeau and you bring Brian Burns, you better let Andre Patterson get his coaching on with those boys and let them get some pass rush moves going on. That's why I think you're going to see a different Kayvon Thibodeau this year, because he's working with Andre Patterson. I think you're going to see a different Brian Burns, a different Dexter Lawrence. He's developing Elijah Chapman. Pat talked about Casey Rogers. You see how now our defensive line is getting back to where it's supposed to be. That's going to be the key to this team. It's always been the key to the Giants being victorious, and this is no different. Things change, but they remain the same, man. NYG, bro, y'all got it.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to say was like, as far as stopping the run, we're going to need our linebackers too to plug those holes and stuff like that. And the guy I'm looking at is I know about Bobby O, but it's McFadden, because I think
Judon, Iman. That's what I was thinking about. Judon.
Matthew Judon, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like McFadden is like, he had a tackle rate of like 20%, like missed tackles. He got to get better in that, man. Because if you want to stop the run, you gotta tackle. So if he can drop that down to considerably, he's gonna help the run, stopping the run. Because I know Bobby O could do it, but if McFadden could get in there too and be a great tackler, yeah, we're gonna be able to stop that run.
That's a fact. And I see y'all get a little hype when you got the little music in the background. You know what I'm saying?
Know how I am, Pat.
So we talked about the front four. We know what the front four is about. You got Kayvon Thibodeau. You got Brian Burns. Hey, I'm about to start spitting with this music in the background. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? But you got Dexter
Turn it down just a tad, Pat.
You got
there you go.
Chapman.
Perfect.
You got Chapman. I do believe would take over for Nacho. I'll give it about 3 or 4 games, and I think Chapman would take over for Nacho. But we know what the big boys, the big fat uglies down there, as Miz call them sometimes, getting after the quarterback and stopping the run. What about this linebacker? Right. What about this young linebacker core and McFadden and Bobby O? What do you think? This new front four that we have, dominant front four, I can say, what does that do for people like Bobby O and McFadden? I'll start it off with Miz. What do you think that does for these guys? What do you think they're going to do now that they have a little bit more room to work with?
You're talking about the linebackers, right?
Bobby O and McFadden.
Yeah, man, I expect big things. I mean, you know, Bobby O is a beast, so I'm not worried about him. I think McFadden will step up, play much better. Hopefully he's healthy. That's the key. And, I actually do think the Giants are going to focus and become really good at stopping the run this year. So I'll be watching for that. But that's the front seven. I did want to say that I was talking to someone the other day, and they wanted a key player. I gave a key player for this defense this year that I think can be a difference maker in this defense, and that would be Azeez Ojulari. I think if he could come off the bench and be a third guy, a rotational edge rusher, and give the other guys rest and play the way we know he can when he's healthy, I think he could be a major wild card on his defense.
Okay, that's an unpopular opinion, if we might say.
Yes, sir. Hit that like button.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Man Cave, what do you think these linebackers can do behind this defensive front? Man, let us know.
The linebackers, like I said, if anybody should have a good time in this defense, should be the linebackers. If that front four can put a lot of pressure on, because that means the linebackers will be looking at, they just going to be reacting, looking at the quarterback and plays right in front of them or something like that, So if the defensive pressure is getting on, and the quarterback is not going to have time to look around, so he's going to have to throw quick passes and stuff like that, short passes. So the linebackers should be right there, ready to clean up, make some plays, and make some tackles in front of them.
What you think, NYG?
Man, I think somebody y'all need to be looking out for is Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons is, I know he's listed as a nickel, but I ain't buying that shit. Dude's a linebacker, and he's going to play that role based on his athletic ability. Now, what he allows you to do is he's a chess piece. You know what I'm saying? So, depending on matchups, if you got a running back that's killing you in the flats, or you got a tight end that's killing you across the middle, let's use Isaiah Simmons. Let's put Isaiah Simmons on that player. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to have him guarding Justin Jefferson, but he can guard TJ Hawkinson. I think he can. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So let's use Isaiah Simmons in that role, and let's let Bobby O and McFadden rush the quarterback and stop the run. That's what I'm talking about, bro.
Okay.
Our defense can be special, but we got to use our players to their strengths. This is coaching.
Yes, sir.
So, thank you, Mr. Tyrone Hall, for gifting Big Pat Sports Talk membership. So somebody's talking they talk with Big Pat Sports Talk because of you.
Yes.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit more about Mr. Isaiah Simmons on this New York Giants team. NYG just brought it up and Miz brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe they have found a role for Isaiah Simmons? Like, I want you guys to elaborate on that. NYG, if you want to start off, go ahead.
Because even when you watch Hard Knocks, the one player they talked about was Isaiah Simmons when they hired Shane Bowen. What you gonna do with Isaiah Simmons? You got to remember, the Giants traded for Isaiah Simmons. They're not just going to throw him away.
Right.
This dude is talented. You just have to know how to use certain players like that. And when you can do that, guess what? It's going to open up your scheme. Because now you got somebody. If you're the offense, think about it like this. You don't know where Isaiah Simmons is playing. You don't know. You see what I'm saying? You don't know because he can rush. He can cover, and he's fast as hell. And guess what? He has ball skills, pause, as you seen with the pick 6 last year. Mm-hmm. So I think Isaiah Simmons, I'm glad you showed Pinnock because he's another player that people need to keep an eye on. Mm-hmm. These are going to be two of the most underrated players on this Giants defense this year. I'm telling you, everybody's talking about Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. Those players are great. They're awesome. But look at Isaiah Simmons and what he can do. Look at what he did last year in Wink's defense. Now think about what he can do with a defensive coordinator that likes to play coverage. Mm-hmm. Now, I wish Coach was here because he could elaborate a lot more. But when you're playing coverage, that gives you and you're able to rush for, that gives you a lot more opportunities for turnovers. And remember how long it took the Giants to get an interception last year? This is like middle of the season.
It was to the Dolphins game, wasn't it? When we had that pick 6. I think that was the first pick.
Facts. That's not going to happen this year, man, in Shane Bowen's defense. When you have guys like Isaiah Simmons, Pinnock, and I'm interested to see what Tyler Nubin does here too, man. But just going back to Isaiah Simmons to land the plane.
Yeah.
Look, chess piece. I think they're going to use Isaiah Simmons on the line. I will use Isaiah Simmons in coverage, and I will also use him as a de facto nickel corner.
Right.
He has that much versatility. Brian Dable always preaches this. You got to understand, y'all. Brian Dable is building the team that he wants. Smart, tough, dependable. Correct? Correct. Isaiah Simmons gives you that.
Okay. Man Cave, what do you think about the whole Isaiah Simmons saga? Is this a guy that they found a way to utilize him at his best?
Yeah, I mean, I think so because like when we got him last year, Wink, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was like, yeah, Wink is gonna really unlock him and stuff like that. And true, I mean, he did. In some games he looked good, you know what I'm saying? Other games he didn't because I think some of that was because we was just blitzing a lot and stuff, leaving him in coverage like that on the island, like with DBs and stuff like that. But when he did pass rush, he got to the quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying, which was good. And I think what Bowen is trying to do is go back to his Clemson days and use him as a Swiss Army knife, like the way they use him all over the place at Clemson. So if he can unlock that Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, that should be great because I mean this guy has all the attributes as far as like the physical, as far as like the length, the speed to keep up with certain players on the field. And like I said, they're gonna use it as a Swiss Army knife, like he did at Clemson. Like I said, this guy played every position in the back, on the back end, linebacker, everything came up and all at Clemson. So that's why I want to see this season how Bowen, uses him and stuff like that. And hey, man, I'm ready to see it. So I think he will unlock Isaiah Simmons.
Miss Aroni, what you think about Mr. Isaiah Simmons going into this season, Miss?
Yeah, man. I'll be honest, Pat. You want me to be really honest? I don't always know everything. I really never was able to put my finger exactly on what Simmons is supposed to be great at, or I always looked at him as like he should be an edge rusher because of his long arms, but people said no. So I'll be honest with you, man. I know he's someone that's supposed to make a one or two really big impact plays a game, and I just look at him as that's what he is. Yeah, I'm not completely sure. You guys probably know more about Simmons than me. I'll be honest with you. I've never been able to exactly
put my finger
on him. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say I think you're right, Miz. I think he is just that. He's an impact player on defense. He's gonna make splash plays. Everybody, applauds Saquon Barkley and all these offensive players that make these splash plays, even though they don't get nothing consistently. That's who Isaiah Simmons is on the defensive end. He's not going to make those consistent plays like Dexter Lawrence or maybe even Brian Burns, but he will get you those splash plays, those big sacks, those big time interceptions, those deflections, those tip passes, those tackle for losses. Like he's going to get you those splash plays during the game, but again, I wouldn't use him necessarily as a every down player either. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to be smart as a defensive coordinator and mix him in, but he is valuable in that aspect because again, he's a defensive matchup problem. Because I mean, unless you're dumb enough to put him on the outside against a real number one wide receiver or in the slot against a real number one wide receiver, if you match him up against wide receivers and tight ends who have destroyed the Giants in recent years, that mitigates some of that. It doesn't stop it, but it mitigates some of that. Now your edge rushers is going to have to do their job containing the edge, but Isaiah Simmons can help that. That's why I think he can be used. Those outside runs, we get killed at a lot, Miz. Isaiah Simmons is going to be a player that can help that.
Yeah, I do believe he's a player that can help us out situationally, and I definitely agree with Diella and Miz. He's a situational guy, and that's what you need him for. You don't depend on somebody like Isaiah Simmons to be every down player, to be that superstar, because it just didn't pan out that way for his career. Now, does that mean he's a player that you can't have on your team because he's not going to be rated a 99 in Madden? No, he's one of those glue guys. He's one of those guys that you can depend on to take away a running back on certain situations. He's a guy that you can depend on to take a screenplay away and go tackle the guy before he can get a first down. He's the guy that can make a play in the middle of the field and guard a tight end for you here and there. And he's a guy that you can send in on the blitz that could get to the quarterback extremely quick because of that speed. So he's like a closer. He's like one of the guys that you want to come in there and let's close out this game. Let's go out there and get after the quarterback real quick and use that speed on the Jalen Hurts that he won't be able to get away from Isaiah Simmons if he's able to get in there and chase him down. He's that guy that can chase the quarterback out of the pocket and make him go out of bounds before he can get any yards. He's that type of player. And if he can carve that role for himself, he's going to be a very good player for the Giants this year and maybe years to come in the future because, boy, he's going to make about $8 million, $9 million a year. Mm-hmm. That's a player that I would pay $8 to $9, maybe even $10 million a year. You know what I'm saying? So he's that guy that can fill in on a dime package to play the other slot receiver that's not going to be as good as a CeeDee Lamb or somebody going into the slot during that time. He's the guy that can open up the defense and allow the defense to play fast and go sideline to sideline if you need him to. So I definitely agree with you guys on Isaiah Simmons, and hopefully he gets into a role on this team, not only for the New York Giants, but just for his career in general. He was a top 10 pick, and I just think that he needs a resurgence in his career because if it doesn't work here with the New York Giants, where is it going to work? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He can find himself outside of the league of being one of those first-round picks like a Takk McKinley who's celebrating going against a third-string offensive lineman. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want that for him in his career, and I think he's better than that. You just have to find a way to utilize his skill set, and hopefully Shane Bowen can unlock that for him. But, I mean, I just want that for his career, man. I want that dude to have a good career going forward. Now, let's talk about maybe the top player for our secondary besides Deonte Banks, and that's Justin Pinnock. Man cave, Justin Pinnock, safety. What do you like about his game, and what do you think he brings to this defense moving forward in 2024?
Well, what I like about Justin Pinnock is his ball awareness and things like that. He will go and get the interception, things like that. He's not afraid to mix it in there, get in there, tackle against the run and stuff like that. But like I said, his main thing is the ball awareness. And like I said, in the Shane Bowen defense, if the front four is going to pressure, that means the back seven is going to be looking towards the quarterback to try to make plays and get turnovers. And he's one of those top players that can track the ball and get the interception. Him and Dane Belton should have I ain't gonna say a field day, but it should be a good year for them. Like I said, if they stay healthy and stuff like that. So with Jason Pinnock, like I said, great ball hawk and things like that, and he's good against the run too, so he can come up and make some plays.
Okay, I feel that, man cave. NYG, tell me what you think about this statement I'm going to make towards you. Okay. Justin Pinnock becomes a top half safety in the NFL in 2024.
I think it would be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think it's a crazy statement to make. Because of the impact, he's basically a two-way safety. He can play the run, and he has good ball skills, pause, as Man Cave said. So again, now when you have the D-line and the linebackers, doing what they do, is going to open up a lot of opportunities, underneath. So if Pinnock is playing, I guess, the de facto strong safety, if you want to call it that. I know it's not really like that in the NFL anymore, but if he's playing, around the line of scrimmage, kind of that, what's my man's name? Landon Collins role. Mm-hmm. He's gonna make because remember, Landon Collins should have made the Pro Bowl in his
Landon Collins was an All-Pro.
Yeah,
but he's his third year.
Year. So if I think Justin Pinnock can become that, you guys don't think so? You guys don't think Pinnock can be Landon Collins or even better? because of what's around him now. Remember who Landon Collins was playing with at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we didn't have this great dominant defense. I mean, I know they did their thing in 16, but again, you know, it fell apart after that. So I do think that it's gonna be interesting for Pinnock to play alongside. I guess it's gonna be Tyler Nubin. If it's him or Belton, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I want to see how them two play together, and if they develop, you know, some type of chemistry within the defense. And if they do, I'm tell you what, man, sleep on the Giants secondary if you want to. I've watched Pinnock play, and this guy is the exact player Brian Dable wants. He's a dog. He's a dog. You know what I mean? And he's going to play and fight on every single play. Never seen that dude take a play off.
That's a fact. Yeah, I've never seen that dude take a play off.
But yeah, man, I got a lot of respect for Jason Pinnock.
That was Stevie Brown, Iman Perry. I remember that year.
I remember that. Brown. Yeah, he was
and
dog doo though. Yeah, he wasn't even that good.
A Pro Bowl that year, but
he really wasn't though.
Yeah, that defensive line was balling that year. He was making a lot of plays because people had to throw that ball up in the air. Miz, what do you think Pinnock and Nubin at the safety positions with the loss of Xavier McKinney? How do you think our safety position goes into 2024? Do you believe in them? How do you feel that Pinnock and Tyler Nubin play off each other this year? Pause.
No, I believe in them. I think I want to see Pinnock come up and again. I want to see him play the run. I want him to be strong against the running game. I know what he could do in the secondary. He definitely has a knock for the ball. And I'm extremely high on Nubin. I think that Nubin is going to, I think he's going to make us forget about McKinney real quick, to be honest with you. I like this kid Nubin a lot. He looks like he's a thumper also. So I think the safeties will be fine, and yeah, I think they'll get better as the season goes.
Okay. The last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, this has been a heck of a stream, man. I do appreciate all you guys, all the birthday wishes for Big Lou. He definitely appreciates that, man. He's 1 year away from 60. What do you believe in Deonte Banks this year? Now, we face receiver after receiver after receiver after receiver this year. Just to name you some of the names. We start off with Addison and Justin Jefferson. We go to people like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We go to people like Scary Terry over there in Washington. We play him twice. We play A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith twice. We play C.D. Lamb twice. We play Drake London. We play Xavier Legette and Deontay Johnson with the Panthers. We play the Ravens with Zay Flowers. We play the Saints with their receivers. We play the Colts with the guy they drafted from Texas and Michael Pittman. And that's just the light part of it. That's like one of the light games with Michael Pittman, and he's a top receiver in this league. Do you think that would there be too much pressure on Deonte Banks to take on all these number one receivers this year? Not to mention Amari Cooper over there with the Browns. It's crazy out here. You got George Pickens with the Steelers. It's crazy out here this year. We play a top receiver damn near every week.
Right. Yeah, we do.
Do you believe there's too much pressure on the young gunner, Deonte Banks?
I will say this. I think initially I was worried. But again, shout out to Mizaroni, my guy, and the birthday boy Lou. They've been singing this Adoree Jackson shit all off season. All off season. And he's back. And you know what? Good for the Giants. Because guess what, Pat? Now, Deontay Banks is breathing a little sigh of relief. Damn. It ain't just me out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? At least Adoree know what's up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, now, I don't think Adoree is that much of a leader that's going to elevate anybody, but I think he does command respect in that locker room. This dude has played high-level football in his career. So, again, good for the Giants because now you're not leaving your number one corner on some real number one type ish because it was about to get real funky out there for Banks this year. I'm gonna tell you why, because you know that second cornerback spot, yeah, they just gonna attack that spot. But guess what? Now you're also able to attack Banks now. You know, because at some point you're gonna want to roll coverage over to the other side. Now you're asking your corner to be on the island all the time with AJ Brown and all these receivers. So, I mean, all game. You know what I mean, Pat? You know the schematics of it. You're not gonna leave no corner on the island all game long.
Right.
But yeah, that's what you will be asking Banks to do at that point. So that's why I think this is a good thing, and I think now I'm not worried about Banks at all. You know, in any type of sophomore slump or anything like that. I think he's going to come into the season as confident as ever. And Malik Nabers is definitely going to push him in practice, you know, to be great. So I'm good with Banks, man.
Yeah, as far as Deontay Banks, like I said, this year it's going to be even better for him. Because last year, like I said, we blitzed a lot. When you blitz a lot, you're going to leave your DBs on the island. This year, with the pressure coming from the front four, it helps Deontay Banks because now he could be a press man. You know what I'm saying? He could be pressing up there to you know, throw receivers off. And then also, he's also going to have help, you know what I'm saying, if we got 7 guys back. So, I mean, it's going to give you even more confidence too, you know, to take on these guys and stuff like that. So it works in his favor to me this year with Shane Bowen's defensive system. Like I said, that's why I can't wait to see how it's going to be. But, hey, if you got pressure from the front four and you could do a press man, you know, to knock the receiver off, you know, the timing route, it helps out even better. And he is a physical corner, so that helps him out a lot. So I'm not worried about Deontay Banks this year.
Yes. Let you get the last thing on the last subject, man. What do you think about Banks going into this season? Do you think he survives? Do you think it's too much pressure for the young man? What you think, brother?
No, I think Banks, to be honest, I think Banks, he has to show us something. I still gotta see him show me some elite cornerback play, but going up against all those elite wide receivers, that honestly is how you make a kid into a man. So he could grow a lot this year, and then maybe you might see a real star next year.
Okay. Well, you know, that's been the show tonight, man. Did a couple of new things for you guys tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. You will see us tomorrow night calling the first football game of the season for the NFL. Ravens versus Chiefs. Jackson versus Kermit the Frog Mahomes. I will be enjoying calling that game for you live tomorrow on the Big Blue Crew Sports Network. I'd like to thank everybody that tuned in. I'd like to thank everybody who shared their opinions. And the recruiting that went on tonight. Hopefully, we can get those guys on the Big Blue Crew Network for you here soon, so Miz could get some help because
Yeah.
Miz has been holding it down. I'm super proud of you, bro. I told you you
Yeah,
can do
hang
it.
back for a second, Miz. Give me like 10 minutes.
Let me tell these
Pause.
guys to look for my Mrs. Picks week 1 coming up in the next day or two. And what I'll give you one game for tomorrow night. The Kansas City Chiefs win the game outright.
All right, they got them favored by 3.5, so it is what it is. But hey, you know we can't end the show without sending somebody to the gulag. So Aquarius, you just happen to be right here, and look what you're saying. Nobody fears this team, but we should fear them. And you mean the same Jackson who got cooked last year? Yeah, the same guy. New system, new player, new year. But hey,
About
it
to
is
get
what
cooked,
it is.
Aquarius. I'm gonna
Right.
light it up.
Aquarius, you know what it is, man. Welcome to the gulag.
Looks like we got another one! On the ground! This is the Gulag. In here, you fight to win back your life. Kids! Let's go!
This has been a Big Blue Crew Sports Network production.